Oh, hello, everyone. I'm Tati Gostaspi, and we are live. Yay, fantastic. Sorry about that. We had a little technical challenge. I guess we needed to be on 2 minutes later than we are. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so excited today for you to feel and see and hear what we're going to be talking about with respect to the apology tax and truly what it's costing you and how to fix it. So let me share my screen with you and we'll get rocking and rolling. All right. So here we go. We're talking about the apology tax problem that's costing you $500,000 in your career, at your firm. If you're at a law firm, it's costing the firm that much. And it's also then costing you in your pocketbook that much. Okay. So here's how it looks generally, the apology tax problem that we like to talk about. Let me keep this moving. Do you see my screen? Yeah, there you go. So it's some function of, have you heard this before? Excuse me, do you want to hire me? Or is this a good time to talk about my raise? Or sorry to interrupt. I was just wondering if this is a good time for us to discuss you hiring us and the firm and the company to become a potential client. Okay. So, really, I want you guys to think about this. If you think this is exaggerated language that I'm using, it's really not. If you're watching this, you say a version of this every time you open up a fee conversation, okay? Something like, I know this might seem like a lot, or start a raise or comp conversation with, I just want to check in about my comp, okay? And how many of you have ever felt like you can't enroll people? You might take a prospective client out to lunch or to dinner, but you don't end up enrolling them. It's frustrating. Or you can't ask for whatever your value is in a fee conversation because it doesn't feel natural to you. I was like that. And that is what we call the apology tax. And over a 10-year career, and I work with mostly women lawyers, it costs $500,000 in your pocket and in cumulative earnings for the firm that you work for. So that's a real thing, right? And so why this problem matters is 500,000 is 500,000 that does not need to be happening. And the attrition crisis this leads to. So I'm always talking about the attrition crisis in law firms and honestly in corporate America, because that's my client base. That $500,000 problem adds to it. I used to be one of those women at the firm where it was so frustrating when I couldn't convert a client and other people, men who were my colleagues, right, were doing so. And you throw up your hands and you're like, I'm leaving. I'm not going to work here anymore, or I'm not going to do this role anymore. I don't want to be a lawyer anymore. And then 20 years from now, here's what we find is the real why. You're retired, or maybe 40 years from now, you're retired, and the apology tax follows you because you're still apologizing for who you are, and you don't think your family wants to be around you, your grandkids want to be around you, your kids want to be around you. How do I know this? Because I just got an email the other day from a 70-year-old. She had been a corporate executive for a long, long time. And she said to me, all of this. She said, I had a great career. I've retired. I'm single now. I don't think my kids want to hang out with me, my grandkids. I'm always taking my friends out and buying them lunch and paying for it, but I still don't think they see me or they reach out to me. These are all symptoms, okay? So you may be a 20-some-year-old lawyer watching this going, what does that have to do with me? That's the future, I promise you, okay? It's coming for you. That's why this topic is so, so, so very, very important, okay? So moving this right along, what is it? What are we really talking about? We're talking about the following, okay? Women lawyers or women executives, if you're not a lawyer, it doesn't really matter, are statistically underpaid relative to our male colleagues, okay, at comparable revenue levels. And so this gap is not a competence gap. I want you to really hear me. This gap is a negotiation positioning gap, okay? Most lawyers and professionals negotiate their value using what we call an apology frame, okay, rather than a business case. So they lead with gratitude instead of data, or they over explain before making an ask. Instead of just saying, will you hire me? And will you hire my firm? They over explain. They soften the proposal to really preserve the relationship rather than just stating the terms, okay? And the result is a negotiation that actually starts in a deficit before the other party actually even says a word, okay? So this is not a gender problem, folks. I know I'm making it sound like a gender problem because my focus is on women lawyers. It's not just a woman problem, and it's not just a lawyer problem, okay? It's an economics problem. Let that land for a second. The apology tax shows up across gender lines. Male lawyers pay it, male CEOs pay it, and they do so in the form of underclaiming credit, hedging proposals, and defending fees that they should be holding, okay? The pattern differs in frequency. It does not differ in kind, though, okay? So if you're a young lawyer watching this, you may think this is not your problem. Well, you haven't yet accumulated as a young lawyer the billing history or the client relationships that make this pattern expensive in the short term for you. Or if you're a young executive in the investment banking field, because that's also a world I operate in, this comes up too. So in the short term, you haven't accumulated enough billing history client relationships, and this pattern is not expensive for you yet. That changes though. So the lawyers and the executives who close this gap early on are the ones who don't spend a decade or more building the wrong negotiation habits at compounding costs. So this is really about habits, okay? And routines that then you have to clean up later on. So what's it look like in actual practice? It isn't just one mistake, folks. It's a cluster of small habits, like I just said, that individually seem pretty darn harmless. What's the problem if I say to the guy, if I over-explain something before I make the ask? Well, maybe that one time, but now you've built a habit where you're getting comfortable with that. You're no longer sitting in your power economically, and collectively it's going to cost you $500,000 or more. Now people ask me, where do you get that $500 number from? $500,000 number from? Up, and it's an estimate, and it's on the low side based on my research that I'm doing on this topic. Okay. So start with this. Here's what I want you to start with. Count how many sentences you speak before you actually state what you want in any fee or comp conversation, okay? If the answer is that you're consistently having 2 or more sentences before you make your ask, that pattern alone is costing you money, okay? That's the exercise. Most lawyers and professionals who track this for 2 weeks find 2 or 3 places where the habit is most expensive. These are the places to fix first, okay? So that's what I want you to start doing now. We want you to look at this. Do you do this? Really stop and think, is this something that you do regularly? And you may think you don't. Who wants to really think they're leaving behind money or they're building a habit as a young lawyer, accountant, finance person doing this? But I know this from the inside. This was me. I paid the apology tax for so many years as a lawyer. I remember when I went to the firm, so I went from the Securities and Exchange Commission to the law firm. I went because a colleague of mine at the Securities and Exchange Commission had gone to the firm a year later. He said, we're looking to hire another senior associate. Why don't you interview? I got the job. I didn't negotiate my salary. And a year later, he said to me, why didn't you negotiate your salary? And he said it from a very nice place of caring. And I thought, why didn't I negotiate my salary? It's a real question. And this is me back then. And I just never thought to. And I was behaving the same way with enrolling and signing up clients. Okay. And that made me leave. Attrition. So I know this from the inside and I know it very well, unfortunately. And this does not have to be you. So what's the fix? Let's talk about the fix. Okay. So, like I said, most of us lawyers treat a fee conversation as a moment to justify ourselves. Okay. It isn't. It's a moment to present terms, not defend yourself or justify yourself. So the difference sounds something like this. And you're going to want to practice this, but there's a moment where you're going to have to reckon with what's going on here before you can practice it effectively. So the apology frame looks like this. I know this might seem like a lot, but given everything I've done on this matter, I was hoping we could discuss ... Or given all the work our firm has done or our investment bank has done on this matter, I was hoping we could discuss ... Here's the business frame, the correct frame. My fee for this scope is X. Would you like to proceed? My firm has done X, Y, and Z. This is our fee moving forward. Would you like to proceed with a retainer? You see how one invites negotiation before the other party has even said a word? The other one does not. So the diagnostic question for any negotiation is the same. Are you presenting terms or are you asking for permission? Are you presenting terms or are you asking for permission? This is not easy. It sounds simple. It's not easy in execution. I know that, okay? This $500,000 gap is not inevitable, okay? It's a measurement problem. What we measure becomes solvable. This also is not an empowerment conversation. It's an economics conversation that everybody needs to have. Okay, this is about money. So I want you to really stop and ask yourself, how much money are you leaving on the table? Why aren't you willing to look at this? If you're a managing partner watching this, when was the last time you sat and really looked at the numbers and how much people are leaving because they're not converting clients well enough, prospective clients well enough? And what are you doing to support them? Economically, it's costing the firm a lot of money. Why? Why are you allowing that to be the case? In my world, working with women lawyers on this topic and male lawyers, frankly, I give a full audit and an assessment, testing key areas based on artifacts, data that they bring me on how they're doing things. So it's very nuanced and very individualized and bespoke because everyone is different. But the rules are still the same and the negotiation tools I teach are the same. If this sounds like a problem, I want you to start going through the questions I just asked and looking at it. It's a conversation we need to be having in 2026 when the economy is what it is. This is about the economics of you stepping up, saving your firm money, saving yourself money, saving your company money, and not doing things the same old way because it's not going to help you 2026 and forward. And we're too far along in the world to have this be happening. I'm like on a mission like a crazy woman to make this stop, okay? If you're looking for actual events, at the end of August 29th, 2026, I'm holding an all-day in-person apology tax training, mostly exclusively for women lawyers at their senior level, because those are the women that are leaving behind the most money and have had the most impact over a 10-year cycle in their career. However, it's more open to women executives as well. 10 people only, by invitation only, because I want to make sure it's a good fit. So if any of that interests you, let me know. go forward, look at what you're doing, how you could be doing it differently. Again, this is not about empowerment. This is economics. Sweep up the $500,000 for yourself and your firm, and let's make it happen.